Welcome back, drawing buddies. This week we're gonna draw Supergirl from pencils to inks to colors. So if that sounds like a fun way to spend 20 minutes or so, then let's draw. Supergirl, well, the main Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, her first appearance was in Action Comics number 252, and that was in 1959. There were a couple attempts at a proto-Supergirl before the first appearance of Kara. The first being Superboy number 5 in 1949. That's not so much even the look of the Supergirl we know. I guess it was just a queen who was sort of a love interest for Jimmy Olsen, and she wore a purple and gold costume. Her name was Lucy, and she didn't have any real superpowers. And I guess that's a very rare book from what I see here, so good luck finding one. And then in 1958, in Superman 123, they introduce a proper type Supergirl. The only thing is, Jimmy Olsen finds like a lamp and he wishes for a companion for his lonely friend Superman. So the genie creates a Supergirl. She got the costume, she's a Kryptonian, she's got the powers, but she's ultimately just a wish from a lantern, and she's not real. So she goes away at the end of that issue. But the fun thing about that one is it's written by the same guy who wrote the first appearance of Kara Zor-El, and that is Otto Binder. So obviously he liked the idea, and a year later, well, actually less than a year later, he brought the idea back and he introduced us to the Supergirl we all know and love now, Kara Zor-El. And that was in Action Comics number 252 in 1959. I said that twice in this video. I wonder how often that happens. Kara's had a rough time in the comics. I mean, she was around for a long time. She got her own series, I think, in 1972, and that was around for a little while. And then in 1985, they had the Crisis of the Infinite Earths. DC decided that the whole continuity thing and keeping up with their stories was just getting too complicated, and that it was hard for new readers to jump on board. So they decided to do a company-wide reset. So they created Crisis on Infinite Earths and the Anti-Monitor. And the Anti-Monitor was going around eating universes. So all the heroes from all the universes got together to stop the Anti-Monitor. You know, that's also where Superboy Prime comes into play and all that. Oh, I should have drawn him for this series. That would be cool. And maybe I'll wait a month and then I'll draw Superboy Prime because he's fun as heck. And I want to draw him bad. And I need to get to the comic shop and get all those new Supermans that he's filling in for, because Superman's missing again. And Superboy Prime is playing Superman in the main universe, so I want to read that. It looks fun. But anyway, back to Kara. So the Anti-Monitor's eating all these universes, and all these other characters are trying to stop them. You know, you got Superman, you got Batman, you got Flashes. And one of the casualties of this war is Supergirl. I forgot exactly what she did, but she went straight in to save, I think, Superman and a bunch of other people, and she ended up not surviving the fight with the Anti-Monitor. In fact, it's one of those classic covers with Superman screaming to the sky, holding Kara in his arms, which is kind of also a homage to the X-Men cover with Cyclops holding Phoenix Jean Grey in his arms, which is also a homage to a cover from the 60s of Batman holding Robin in his arms, and Superman screaming towards the sky, and he is not happy. But eventually the DC heroes defeat the Anti-Monitor, and Superboy Prime and the Golden Age Superman and Lois Lane and Alexander Luthor get locked in a pocket dimension. And I should probably talk about that when I get to Superboy Prime, because it's not really important to Supergirl's story. But after Crisis of Infinite Earths, they rebooted the whole DC universe, and Superman started with a new number 1. And part of the mandate from DC higher-ups is that Superman should be the only surviving Kryptonian. There shouldn't be a bunch of Kryptonians. There shouldn't be a Supergirl. There shouldn't be a General Zod. It should just be Superman. And for a long time, there was no Supergirl. And then I want to say in the 90s sometime, they created a Supergirl who looked like Supergirl, but she wasn't. She was like this alien shape-shifting goo thing called Matrix. And she was strong, and she could fly, and she could change her shape, I guess, and she mostly looked like Supergirl most of the time. I don't know a lot about Matrix. I don't even know when her first appearance is, so pause, we're going to look that up. Okay, Matrix's first appearance was in Superman Volume 2, number 16, in 1988, so only a few years after the death of poor Kara Zor-El. And she's a protoplasmic life form from a parallel universe and served as the primary Supergirl throughout the post-crisis era. There you go. See, I just kind of read that from the Google search. And yeah, I don't even know if she's still around. Pause again. Okay, I looked that up too, and she is still around. They use her sporadically, and they're weaving her back into the modern Supergirl series and all the 90s look and everything, so cool on her. I read some of the new 52 Supergirl, but not enough to talk about it, because it was when it came out. But I remember the costume design. She wore more kind of like a bathing suit thing, and there was a little Superman symbol cut out to show her navel. And I really liked the art. It was Mahad Assar, if I'm saying her name wrong, I'm sorry. And I just really liked the art in it, so I bought it more for the art than Supergirl. And I remember watching the Supergirl show. Yes, I did watch the Supergirl show for the first 3 or 4 seasons. I didn't finish watching it. I heard it got really bad, and life got in the way, and I wasn't watching a lot of TV back then, so I never finished it. So maybe one day I'll either torture myself and watch the last season or 2. But so Massad's art, he had her in kind of like it's kind of like a one-piece bathing suit with the Superman symbol, and it was red and blue, gold, and had the cutout for the belly button. And when Supergirl on the TV show is trying on different suits because she decides she's gonna be like her cousin and help save the world and be Supergirl after she saved an airplane, which is pretty much a Superman thing, but we'll get to that in a second. So she's going through different costume types, and one of them is the bathing suit, and she comes out and her friend's like, yeah, that's a good one. And she's like, oh, I can't wear this in public. And then she walks off, and she ends up in the standard Supergirl with the red skirt and, standard Supergirl. And then in the later season, she gets pants, and she's like, oh my god, pants! Why did it take so long for me to get pants? Because, it's kind of would be uncomfortable, a woman flying around in a little skirt saving people, and, all the weird angles that could happen and stuff that I shouldn't get into in a YouTube video. But yeah, I think the pants were a good call. In fact, I noticed in the Supergirl trailer, when she's fighting and everything, she pretty much has like shorts that come halfway down her calf underneath the skirt, which I think is a good compromise for now. And she'll probably end up in pants eventually in the DCU anyway. In fact, I would imagine by the end of the movie, she'll have found herself and create her own suit to suit her styles and not what was given to her by Clark. But I could be wrong about that, and we'll find out in a couple weeks. And I think hold on, the pencils are done. So it's time to ink Supergirl, Kara Zor-El. So I think the movie is actually going to do pretty good. And the reason I say that is when my father says he wants to go see a movie, because he's going to be 75 years old, and this is kind of like part of my birthday present for him. I took him to see Superman last year because he asked. He's like, hey man, I want to see that Superman movie. And it came out on his birthday, so he said, all right, we'll go for your birthday. So we saw Superman, and we're going to keep that tradition going by going to see Supergirl this year. And next year, we'll keep the tradition going, and we'll go see Man of Tomorrow, because that's in production right now. And I'm pretty sure it's coming out next year around the same time as this is, so it'll work out nicely. So me and my father have a few years of bonding over Supergirl, which I think is pretty good, and Superman. I liked the CW Supergirl show, at least the seasons I watched. You could definitely tell they were getting a little hokey toward the last season I watched, but it was still good. Except my problem was she was pretty much just Superman. At the time, CW couldn't have Superman for some reason in his own show, so they did Supergirl, and she was cool, but she was a reporter like Clark. Her first outing as Supergirl was like Clark's new introduction, where he saves the airplane coming down, which was also featured in the Brandon Routh movie. The airplane's crashing and she saves the plane and everybody cheers, hey, Supergirl! And she flies off. And yeah, that's a Superman thing. I liked Brainiac 5, I think it was. There's a lot of Brainiacs. He was fun and weird and funny. I liked, I don't know his name, the guy who played Martian Manhunter. He was cool. Except you could tell they didn't have the budget to keep turning him into Martian Manhunter, because he spent most of his time in his human form as the head of, it wasn't Intergang, I forgot what they called it, but it was Intergang. So he was in it, and when he did Martian Manhunter stuff, he was badass. Who else was in that show? For some reason, they turned Jimmy Olsen into Guardian, so that was a little weird. And they kept teasing that her friend, I forgot his name in the show, but her best friend, and they kept teasing that he was going to become Toyman. In fact, his name was the name of the Toyman character, and they introduced his father as Toyman in the show, but I don't think he ever actually became Toyman, which I thought was pretty cool. And of course, they had the crossovers with the Flash and the other CW shows, and the Crisis of the Infinite Earth, and the Batwoman show, which wasn't as good. But like I said, I liked Supergirl. I liked the seasons of Flash that I watched, but I guess that dropped off in the last couple seasons. I liked Arrow. I think I watched all of Arrow. I saw the whole thing. That was a fun one. And they gave Stephen Amell some shade not that long ago, and it's undeserved. You know, it was a CW show, and they did the best they could what they had, and at the time, that's all we had. And it was better than anything Marvel was doing on TV at the time, so there's no reason to hate on the CW. You know, DCU. It was good stuff, and for the time, it was great, and I have no problems with it at all. Of course, I'm saying that without watching the last couple seasons of each show to see if they got really, really bad or not. But, you know, like I said, someday I might just be bored sitting on the couch drawing something and like, you know what? Let's watch the last few episodes of those CW shows. But I really need to catch up on Daredevil before I do any of that. I gotta watch season 2 because the video is drawn. The video is cut together. I just don't have the voiceover done. And I don't want to do the voiceover until I watch the rest of Born Again. So that's that. And who knows, maybe we'll get lucky and Daredevil will show up in, what is that? Oh, the Spider-Man movie coming out too. I mean, the Punisher's in it, and Matt Murdock was in the last one, so who knows? But I guess he ends the season of Born Again in jail, spoilers. And that was a spoiler for me too. I saw it on the interwebs and I was not happy about that, but it also teach me to wait a couple months to catch up on the show, because I can't be mad about somebody posting a spoiler that happened months ago. You know, just kind of is what it is. But if I came in here after seeing the Supergirl movie and spoiled the whole movie, that would be kind of a jerk move. So that's on me for waiting so long to catch up on them. But yeah, the Supergirl, I was just looking online at random superhero Reddit stuff, and somebody posted a picture of Lois Lane. Apparently she had a story or an Elseworlds thing, I don't think it really happened, where she became Superwoman after Clark disappears or Clark dies. And she kind of uses those powers to change the world. She does things Superman wouldn't do. Oh, hold on. The inks are done. It is time to color Supergirl. So, yeah, Lois starts doing crazy stuff, and she has this Supergirl suit. And there was a panel, and I'm like, oh, I like that drawing. So I saved it. And when I was drawing Supergirl and I started the pose, I'm like, oh, this looks a little bit like that Superwoman thing, Lois Lane. So I said, I know, I saved that picture. So I went back to my photos and I found it. I was like, oh, it's really close. And then I looked at it and like, you know what? It's different enough, and it's my own spin. So I kept it. And, you know, you subconsciously do that sometimes. Like, I've written songs that sound sometimes like other songs, and sometimes it's too similar. Like, I can't do that. And sometimes you're like, yeah, no, it's got the vibe, but it's not close enough, so I'm keeping this one. So I sent this picture to a few people when I was done with it, because I loved it, but there was something that was bothering me about it, and I didn't know what it was. And my son actually sent me back. She's like, she looks weird. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but okay. So after not looking at it for a day or two, I went back and I looked at it. It's like, oh, somewhere along the line, her head lost some of its symmetry. And I think that her nose and mouth are too far away from her eyes. So I didn't record that part because I was kind of laying in bed thinking about it, and I had the iPad next to me because I listened to music on it at night. So I took the iPad and I moved her head, and I made a couple changes, and I made her face a little more symmetrical. And that made all the difference in the world. Those 5 minutes worth of changes. It's like, oh my gosh. It's night and day. I mean, you look at it and you don't see it right away, but you could definitely tell that just moving her lower half of her face up and squaring off her jaw evenly, it's like, damn, such a difference. I also tried something different with Car as far as inking goes, even though we're in coloring. I usually put a really thick line around my figures, and I make a conscious effort to do that because every time I shut off the pencils and I see the thinner lines, I'm like, oh, that just doesn't look right. And with Kara, I was about to do that, and I looked at it, and I'm like, no, this is actually all right. We could keep these thinner lines. I mean, if I drew a whole background, I would have to thicken her up to separate her from the front, which is probably why I do that on my main figure drawings, because it just burnt into my head that the main figure has to have a thick outline, even though I look at plenty of comics where they don't. But line weight is important, and it was beaten in my head from a young age, so it's something that I do. But for Kara, I'm like, I'm going to do a fairly dramatic coloring job on her, even though, because I wanted her eyes deep in shadow to help the whole angry coming at you look. And I put a lot of the deep blue on her suit, and I tried some of the blending in with darker colors and stuff, and I think it works just fine. And there was no need to thicken her up. She's also a little rounder than I usually draw. Usually I'm very angular with things, like her forearm would come to a point and down instead of rounding over. Like her calf, see? I totally didn't get out of the whole angle thing, but I tried. Because my son once said to me, he's like, why do you draw everything so straight and angled? I'm like, I don't know, it's just the way I've always done it. It's just the way I draw things. And it still is. But, I wanted her to be a little softer because, she's Supergirl. She's not Superman. She's not a big hulking figure. She just looks like your standard average woman on the streets who just happens to have some awesome superpowers. She's not extremely stacked or built or ripped, even though her arm is kind of ripped in this one. But you know what I'm saying. So I wanted her to be a little softer, and so I tried to keep that look too. So tell me if I succeeded or not, because her hair is still kind of sharp and angular, and obviously so is her calf and her skirt, but the main part's her body. I also, when I was doing the jaw thing, I probably shouldn't bring this up in a YouTube video, but I reduced her chest size a little bit because I'm like, she's Supergirl. She doesn't have Power Girl sized endowments. She's not her. So I brought her chest size down a little. I didn't completely reduce it to, but enough that it was noticeable and not looking like Power Girl, because I figured she's not Power Girl. And I already drew Power Girl, which is really fun. Go check out that video. That was a fun one. And I also did another Supergirl video early last year, where it's just mostly she's flying up at you, and it's a big headshot. Looks nothing like this one, even though the original sketch sort of had the same facial features. But then when I was getting into it, I kind of lost this look. It happens. But still a good drawing. Go back and watch that video too if you're interested. And I also did Superman versus Thor a while ago. That was a fun one. And the Superman video is actually kind of weird. It's getting me followers, and people are watching the shorts. But the main video itself is not getting many views at all. But I don't care. I'm trying to get 1,000 subs, so I'm getting closer. I'm like 58 away at this point, because I have 942 as I'm recording this. At least I did when I checked this morning. So it was really stagnant for a while, but it's starting to pick up, which is good. It could be my character choice. It could just be algorithms. I don't know, because as I mentioned before, I'm terrible at that stuff. And I only went with one level of shading on Supergirl, but I also put ingredients underneath the colors to blend it in, because I just put her on a dark background, so she didn't really have many highlights. I mean, I could have put highlights on her. It wouldn't look bad, but I didn't think she needed it. And I kind of am a fan of doing what I think the drawing needs and not just what I want, if that makes sense. Like the background, I finished her with white with the green stripe, and I really like the white with the green stripe. But as a last minute thing, I'm like, what if I throw some black on there? And I did. And I'm like, oh, the black makes her pop with the green and all the color. So when I make the prints of Supergirl, I think I'm going to do a couple with the black background and a couple with the white. So there will be options. I was just thinking, if I do decide to do a quick movie review of Supergirl, maybe instead of drawing a chibi Supergirl, I'll draw Crypto. Because it would have been cool if I drew Crypto, or if I put Crypto in one of the drawings, like the Lobo or the Superman, or even this drawing with him coming towards the camera with her. But it's too late for that now because I'm in the voiceover stage, and stopping and drawing in crypto and getting the videos done in time just would not be a thing. So this video is coming to an end, but I'm wondering how many of you are actually looking forward to the Supergirl movie like I am. How many are just meh? How many are still stuck in the Snyderverse? I'm curious. I really want to know. So if you got this far into the video, or when this becomes a short, leave a comment and tell me. Because I really enjoyed James Gunn's Superman, and I am not one of those Snyderverse haters. I like the Snyder stuff too. I just think James Gunn is more Silver Age fun, and he has that hopefulness that James Gunn's movies didn't have. They were more dystopian. So that's all I got. And with that, Supergirl is done. So thanks for hanging out with me. Let me know if you see the movie, you like the movie. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Enjoy your week and go out and draw something.